me, Disney have absolutely knocked it out of the park. They've delivered a real love letter to Colombia with some real strong heartfelt messages and the sort of emotional heft that maybe once upon a time was reserved for Pixar. Welcome to Richard Reviews Encanto. So, Encanto is the 60th animated film from Disney. Maybe we should just take a second to think about that, because that is just a ridiculous amount of films to add to cinema history. They've really come a long way from being purely handcrafted animation, and I think in this film they're as much on the cutting edge of animation as anyone really. This really is as good looking an animated film as I think I've ever seen. The hair detail is amazing, the light and colour is just fantastic throughout, and it really does a good job of representing the vibrancy of Colombia. So Encanto follows the Madrigal family, primarily the main character Mirabel, as played by the great Stephanie Beatriz. The family receive powers from a magic candle. This allows them to build and support a town around them, including the magical house Casita, which really takes on a life and character of its own. Now, Mirabel herself never received any magic powers, so she has to go through the standard not living up to the expectations of the family, and really feeling like she has to make a mark in her own way. It's not long before there's something wrong with the magic, and Mirabel obviously takes it upon herself to overcome her struggles and see what she can do to find out what's happening and try and restore the magic to the family. This is a pretty tried and true story, and to be honest, there's no real surprises throughout. But one of the main things I did like, without giving away anything too spoilery, is there's no real big bad pulling any of the strings. It's really just this mystery that Mirabel is looking into and trying to solve. What this smartly does is allow all the drama to be focused around the family and the relationships in it. It becomes pretty apparent that it isn't the perfect family that it's first painted as being, and everyone has their own pressures and expectations on them of what they should be. These are some pretty deep but also very relatable dynamics that you can see in the film, and they really give a lot of heart to the story and the characters. By the time the resolution comes, it's not going to deliver any message that you've not seen in a film before, but it's done so joyously and with so much real emotion that I don't think you can do anything but love it. It's so heartfelt, and I found it really touching personally. Anyone that understands anything about mounting pressures and expectations will surely be able to understand and empathise with a lot of the issues in this film. It's not just all deep, dark emotions throughout though. This film is an absolute joy to watch from start to finish, especially thanks to all the powers that the different family members have. This gives rise to a lot of really great physical comedy, and additionally the script is just so sharp and funny throughout, it's impossible not to watch it with a smile on your face the whole time. I think as well it's smart that it's not a massive global sprawling adventure, it's just a really local story, and that really lets the drama of the family be at the front of the show. With the Magic House though, they're still able to get a lot of very different environments in there without straying too far away, so that really helps keep it fresh while keeping it all quite nice and centred. And I think in a way that helps it stay appropriately small scale, which I think is what it needs to let the drama breathe. And finally, we can't really talk about a Disney film without talking about its songs, and to me this has some really great ones in there. A particular standout is going to have to be a song about pressure by Sister Louisa. It manages to convey all the emotional struggles she's going through at that moment, but you know, classic Disney fare just wraps it up in some incredibly hooky melodies. I don't know overall if there are as many standout memorable songs as something like Moana. Only time will tell how long these are going to get stuck in your head for, but they're just thoroughly enjoyable and fantastic throughout. You've really got to give props to Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton fame for just crafting some really loving and hooky songs. If you've seen Hamilton, you sort of know what to expect with this. And overall, he's done a really great job here. To me, the overall message and emotional payoff, I think has got to be up there with the best of what Disney has done lately. Certainly for me, I find it's got more impact than any of the latest Pixar films, which have gone down a kind of existential, really experimental route with likes of Luca, based around sea monsters, and Soul. But because of how challenging those are, sometimes the message just doesn't land as clearly. For this, that straightforward story really allows the emotional message to convey itself well, and everything breathes with just some really understandable family dynamics and very relatable problems around what everyone's expectations are. I think this is really a fantastic film. Kids, if you take them, are definitely going to enjoy the bouncy animation and the fun and playful characters. Adults are going to get more from the deep emotions being explored. I personally didn't take any kids with me, and I still had a fantastic time. While it might be a little unclear when the end comes around why the magic was being damaged and then why it gets restored, I think ultimately it's the success of the family story that really makes this a win for me. I can say with no hesitation that this is definitely a film that I would have no problem paying premiere seats for, and I think I'm definitely going to be going back to see it while it's still in the cinemas. It's definitely a no-brainer. So that's my review of Encanto, a film just steeped in the love and culture of Colombia. Great music throughout and a really strong and emotionally resonating story all about the love and acceptance of being in family and the difficulties even that brings up. And for me, it was, definitely a resounding success. What do you think? Are you enjoying Disney's more family-friendly, straightforward, heartfelt messages at the moment, or Pixar's much more experimental, maybe a little bit more hit and miss storytelling? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next.